相当だ。
Sol is a well-balanced character that rewards strong fundamentals on a player level over learning complex setups. What this means is that Sol as a character relies heavily on your fundamental ability as a player to read and adapt to your opponent. Sol has an answer for just about every situation you can find yourself in, but his tools often come with the risk of taking damage if you choose the wrong one. To make up for this, his reward on correct decisions is abnormally high, where 2 to 3 correct decisions can consistently end the match in your favor. This comes from both his big call-out moves such as Bandit Bringer, as well as strong counter-hitting normals that can go through or under his opponent's moves, such as 6p and 2d. Sol can consistently convert these options into very good corner carry and knockdown, with Bandit Revolver as well as his knockdown option after his Dragon Punch, and from them set up Oki with his unique Fireball Gunflame, which, while not as safe or allowing for as complex mix-ups as many other Guilty Gear characters, much like the rest of his kit, it allows for very strong damage follow-ups, once again emphasizing Sol rewarding the player for strong fundamental understanding of what the opponent wants to do and rewarding you for it. To complement these tools, Sol also has a very strong command grab in Wild Throw, a throw that launches the opponent for full combos, allowing him to utilize his strong corner carry and knockdown game to bring his opponent to the corner, and once in the corner allows devastating combos, making his counter hit tools that much stronger. Wild Throw forces your opponent to make decisions by its mere threat, and those decisions are what Sol thrives on reading and countering. This all sounds great, so what's the downside? The downside is the same as his strength. He's only as strong as the player piloting him. He lacks dedicated tools to deal with characters that have more extreme strengths, and has to overcome them through system mechanics. The only thing Sol really excels in, outside of his damage, is that he has a fantastic reversal in his Dragon Punch. But every other character in some way will excel in some extreme, in a way that Sol will not. And even then, the freeform nature of YRC and Oki in this game often means that even Sol's fantastic DP won't save him from having to block that mix-up. Sol therefore is generally always playing around the tools his opponent has, with heavy reward sure, but his options for beating the strong tools of other characters often come down to universal mechanics. Sol is simply too honest, and you will have to work for your wins, but when you do win, you will feel like you really earned it. Guilty Gear combos can be very freeform in many cases, and you will often have to convert from stray hits, so it's important to have a basic idea of what your route should look like, rather than a strict idea of a set sequence of buttons to always press in order. Sol has a basic combo structure mid-screen, and another in the corner. Your basic structure mid-screen is to confirm into either 2D, through Gatlings to allow the use of Bandit Revolver or Volcanic Viper, or into 6P, from options such as 2K to allow you to convert into strong corner carry, utilizing air dashing. From air hits and anti-airs, you will generally want to do a sequence of jumping normals into Bandit Revolver or Volcanic Viper's knockdown, allowing you to keep your advantage going. The corner allows stronger options when you launch your opponent, where the main thing you're trying to do is hit Fafnir while they are airborne, which stabilizes the route, allowing you to pick from many ending sequences once you've gotten the Fafnir hit. A very common way is to hit an early jump D into falling jump D, which is advantageous enough for Fafnir to hit. Beyond this, there are many character-specific and hit-specific routes you can and will learn on your Sol journey, but these are essential building blocks you will keep using for that journey from the start to the finish. Sol has many hard routes you can lab and learn, but even using only the baseline B&B routes, you will do enough damage where the optimal routes will absolutely do more damage, but unlike many characters with much harder execution requirements, you will not as often feel like you are held back from the proper reward you should be receiving from your hits. Practice often and early for the coming rollback update. Your main pokes in neutral will normally consist of Force Slash and Heavy Slash, which by themselves will let you do a lot of damage, but with meter or specific counters can be followed up on. Even without meter or the anticipation of the counter hit, this is an important tool, for spacing out your opponent, allowing you to get close and threaten with your other moves. If your opponent tries to hit you back with long-range pokes, you can often try to counter them out of it with 6p, which is good upper body invul, and converts on both normal hit and counter it into good damage and corner carry. Or 2D, which has an infamously low hurt box, allowing it to go under even some DPs and supers, and allows a full combo and counter it. Use Gunflame to control space on the ground. It lasts for a long time and can help deal with many pesky things like Eddy Summon, and keep out less mobile characters, allowing you to anti-air them for trying to get around it. It also tends to hit late if cancelled into after many of your pokes, leaving you with an advantage and able to keep pressure going, even on block. This of course comes with the risk of them countering it. Your air options are fantastic. Both Jump Heavy and Jump D are standout moves to throw out to try to bait your opponent into something, with overwhelmingly fast recovery and strong priority. Another standout air normal is Jump K, which is a fantastic air-to-air and cross-up tool. You can add an additional layer to this with Sol's Dive Kick Break. It can throw off your opponent's anti-air timing and leads to good damage with meter. So, you've managed to get in and they're blocking. Now what do you do? Sol can play a very basic but effective strike throw game, with its plethora of moves with advantage on block. Let's use one of your main pressure tools, 2P, as an example. The basic strike throw mix-up is based on how you avoid a command grab. Sol can wild throw his opponent from outside the range they can throw him back, meaning to avoid it they have to be immune to the throw, from an invul reversal, jumping, or backdashing. This means we can press 2P and then base our next move on one option we believe the opponent will do. If you think they are trying to jump out, we can do a low 2k for a combo. If you think they're going to DP out, we can simply block and punish. This mix-up is very basic but effective, and works at any level as long as you can condition your opponent to make the wrong decision, and your rewards from your options are very good. You can utilize the same idea from any option where you are in range for a wild throw, and your opponent has to respect your next move. For instance, here's the same mix-up from your opponent blocking a jump in. If you have some meter and a good knockdown, you can instead start implementing the classical Guilty Gear mix-up of late air dash. By utilizing YRC to cancel the startup of our Gunflame, we can make it cover our jump in, allowing us to mix up between a tight low and a late air dash our opponent has to block high. These two mix-ups you will see at every level of play, and once you've learned them, you can start building on top of them with more and more options. You will learn through experimentation and from watching other great players. If Sol interests you, some strong players you can look at are Mocchi and Haaken from Japan. I have linked a compilation for them both respectively in the description. More in-depth information can be found on the excellent Dustloop wiki, which will break down every move and option in the game, for Sol and every other character in the game. Coming up next is Kai. I'm going to be trying to do one of these a day until Xrd rollback releases, with the hope of making it through the whole cast by then. So if you want to follow along and find out about the many interesting characters of Xrd, sub so you don't miss the next episode. Bye bye and trust in your read.